We wrap up our conference previews, saving the best for last. You know it. It's the MIHL, a league that has won 10 of the last 15 state championships across all three divisions. Catholic Central, with its record-setting 6th consecutive Division I state championship. No other program in the state has won more than 5 in a row, and I believe Catholic Central had done that as well. Brother Rice made it to the D2 Final Four last season. St. Mary's topped Cranbrook in an all-MIHL D3 state final matchup last season, too. They are essentially the SEC football of the high school hockey world. It just means more here. I wrote on the blog on pdspicks.com, 3 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, Catholic Central atop the state rankings. I'm going to unveil my preseason top 25 on next week's pod, and spoiler alert, CC's number 1. Again, no surprises there. And they will be, and they should be, until something drastically changes here in the statewide landscape. Picking anyone other than the Shamrocks would just be rage baiting on social media at this point. Yes, I did mention Howell's top end may be better, talking about them obviously in the previous preview. But no one, and I mean no one, has the depth that CC has. There's a whole bunch of new faces in the lineup this year, but the goal remains the same for Coach Cal's program. In his 9 seasons behind the bench, they've won a state title 7 times, and I believe finished runner-up one of the other 2 times. So while people like myself and others see the recent run of 6 in a row by Catholic Central, it's really each group is a brand new one, essentially doing it for the first time all over again. Graduating classes of 12, 15, 16, and 20 in a graduating class over that span. 90 seniors in the last 6 seasons, half of which were one and done. Players who played 1 season and then graduated. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just illustrating the sheer turnover this program sees year over year. And elsewhere around the league, I talked about depth. I think St. Mary's is creeping up on CC in this regard. Their varsity B team, as much as I don't like these quote-unquote B teams and what they mean for high school hockey as a whole, I think that individual programs themselves, St. Mary's, Howell, Heartland, individually, it does help bring along and develop that depth that we keep talking about. Eaglets have had a bunch of forwards up front, and very little separates them from one another. On top of that, John Ward quite literally has some big shoes to fill as well. After graduation of the 6'5" Will Keene, who's actually playing in the USHL right now and doing very well, by the way. I don't know if you've checked that out in a while. I don't want to say there's question marks for St. Mary's, because there's not. I just don't necessarily see a go-to guy for them just yet. A playmaker, a bona fide goal scorer, the stud goalie in net that can carry a team or make a big play when they need it. But I do think it's more of a situation where the sum is greater than its parts. Having 5, 6, 7, even 8 guys that can be solid and dependable is more valuable to them than having 1 or 2 studs in the lineup. And speaking of studs, Trenton's Donovan Durbin could be the best forward in the MIHL this season. And if that holds true, makes him one of, if not the best in the state as well. He scored 72 points last season as a junior. And I've said it a couple times now, but I believe that's the most by a Trenton player since at least 2012, 2013. And I know there's a ton of Trenton historians out there, so if people want to provide more stats and details, I'm absolutely here for it. Send them my way, because I'd love to take a look. So him and Zach LeMay coming back as a phenomenal 1-2 punch. They also add former AAA prospect Grandin Eccles to the mix offensively. And the Trojans, are going to have a ton of scoring options. Strength on the back end as well. Landon Leone, Patrick Rogowski, they're going to be deep and talented at the top. My question is just goaltending. And 4-year starter Evan Sivvy has graduated. And this is like the first time since at least 16-17 that there wasn't a clear-cut decided number one in goal, at least that I can recall. That could change, could absolutely change a lot as the season unfolds, and someone could play their way into that role. But that just leaves question marks in the crease nonetheless until that gets decided. So I also like Rice a lot this season. You know, they won 16 games and lost in the D2 state semifinals, but it felt like a bit of a down year by Rice standards. And again, kind of parachuting in as a distant observer, obviously ended with a lengthy playoff run. But the 3-6-1 start to the season, finishing just a game over 500 in the regular season, just left a little bit to be desired, I thought. And I actually think coming out of the gate hot and staying hot this season could very well happen when you've got guys like Zach Stalegrave, who looked like their best forward at times last season for the Warriors, getting him back on the heels of a strong fall hockey season with the Michigan Steel. I'm expecting big things from him. I like his game a lot and the trajectory he's on. Same thing with Drew Murphy on the back end. And then you got Drake England. He really hit his stride last weekend at the Tier 2 state finals. If he can snowball that into the regular season, I think the Warriors could really be a force this season. And keep in mind, too, since Coach Kenny Chappett took over in 2016, the Warriors have never gone more than 2 years without a state title. And the last time Rice won was 2 years ago. So they're due. They're due. Other teams and players of note, Blake Tice for Cranbrook looked really good at the MDHL this fall. Was in the All-Star Showcase for the league earlier this month. The Cranes seem a little thin up front at the moment. But as long as Coach LaFontaine has a reliable goalie, I'm confident he can round out the rest of the team into shape as the season wears on. So the team you see on day one won't be the same that hits the ice for playoffs in February. So just might take some time there for the Cranes. U of D, De La Salle, a lot of question marks as we sit here preseason, but we will certainly find out. Just haven't seen many in action this fall to get a good read on where they might stack up preseason. Kids from those programs are usually pretty heavy participants in fall hockey, but it's been pretty quiet a few months for a couple of these programs, these two programs in particular. So I'll just kind of have to wait and see on some of the rest of the teams around the MIHL. So